Welcome to 365 Language Planet. This is Let's Speak, the live chat for learning and using English. 英語を学び、使うためのライブチャット. As you watch the show, please share your answers and new questions in the chat or in the comments. ショーを見ながらチャットやコメントであなたの答えや新しい質問をぜひ共有してください。Let's make learning and using English fun by doing it together. 一緒に英語を学び、使うことを楽しくしましょう。The theme of this episode is hay fever. 日本語で花粉症。The first question of tonight's show is, do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? 日本語で最近花粉症に悩まされている人を知っていますか? I know for me, I'm suffering from hay fever these days. But how about you? Do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? 最近花粉症に悩まされている人を知っていますか? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。Do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? And I guess you know at least one person. That would be me. But I should say, do you know anyone else who is suffering from hay fever these days? No, I have a few students who are suffering from hay fever these days, and some viewers too, but how about you? Do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. Let's see. 最近花粉症に悩まされている人を知っていますか? Do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. The first question of this episode is, do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. I guess you might know many people who are suffering from hay fever these days, or maybe you don't. So this is a yes/no question. So technically speaking, you could say yes or yeah. I know a few people. I know many people. I know only one person possible. Or, you could say no, I don't know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days. 最近花粉症に悩まされている人を知っていますか? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. Do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? I was suffering from hay fever very bad yesterday. So I guess that might have been a good question to ask. Do you know anyone who is suffering very badly from hay fever these days? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. Do you know anyone who is suffering from hay fever these days? Maybe people don't. Oh, that's okay. All right, Charming. Thank you for joining tonight's show. Charming says, yes, I do. Some of my friends are suffering from hay fever these days. I'm not suffering from hay fever. Wow, that's great news. I'm happy to hear that, Charming. Great answer. And great news. I'm very happy to hear that about you. All right, well, if you are still typing, please continue, and you can share your answer in the chat or in the comments anytime. Now, let's move on to the next section, Q&A time. So now you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。All right, YO, thanks for joining tonight's show. YO says, yes, I do. I'm suffering from hay fever these days. Me too. Oh man, I was suffering so bad yesterday, but okay. Great sentence. All right, so now you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. It's Q&A time. 今、チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。If you want, you can ask me questions about hay fever, or you can ask questions about anything. 何でも大丈夫です。One of my questions would be, did you go outside this weekend? For me, no, I did not go outside this weekend. I went out Friday night, but I did not go out today or yesterday. How about you? That's my new question, but now you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。And yeah, you can ask questions about hay fever, or you can ask questions about anything. All right, Charming says, but I was suffering from hay fever before. Wow. Charming, when you say before, do you mean like before, like this week, or before this year? I know, maybe some, like my son last year, he suffered from hay fever a lot, but this year he hasn't really suffered that much compared to me. So, oh wow, 20 years ago. I see. Well, Charming, thank you for that clarification. 20 years ago. That's interesting. I wonder what changed. Amazing. If you're just joining tonight's show, this is Q&A time, so you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. 今は Q&A time. チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。 And yeah, you can ask me questions about hay fever or questions about anything. Sometimes you can ask questions by using a sentence. Like, for example, in my case, I didn't go outside all weekend. How about you? So you could ask me questions that way, or you could ask questions using a yes/no question. Did you go outside this weekend? Or a WH question, like what did you do this weekend? Anything's okay. All right. Well, if you're still typing, please continue, and you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments anytime. Oh, Grandma Kay, thanks for joining tonight's show. Grandma Kay says, hi, is there any pollen in the air in America? Great question. I think there is. I think there is a lot of pollen in the air. I just talked to my brother today, one of my brothers, and he said there has been pollen in the air. So there is. There is. All right. Great question. Okay. Well, let's move on to the second question of this episode, which is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? 日本語で花粉症が悪化する原因となるものはありますか? I hope I said that correctly. Is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? I know for me, going out and drinking alcohol it makes me suffer more from hay fever. But what do you think? Is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? 花粉症が悪化する原因となるものはありますか? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります. Is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? I would say definitely, in my opinion, drinking alcohol causes people to suffer more. And I think, probably going outside causes people to suffer more from hay fever. But what do you think? Is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. Is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? 花粉症が悪化する原因となるものはありますか? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. All right, Charmin says, I think strong wind, no rain, dry weather. I agree. I think so too. And the dust. Last year, maybe I went outside more, but last year I felt like there was a lot of dust. And I felt like the dust made me suffer more from hay fever. So strong wind, no rain, dry weather. I think that makes like more dust, and for me, that made hay fever worse. So great idea. Does anyone else know? Is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? 花粉症が悪化する原因となるものはありますか? please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. So I know for me, I just, okay, we got some sentences here. YO says, yes, I think strong stress makes hay fever more worse. I agree. Takanona says, I think lack of sleep is one of the reasons why hay fever gets worse. All right, and Takanona, thanks so much for joining tonight's show. Lack of sleep. I think that, and definitely probably one of the reasons why a lack of sleep makes hay fever worse is because when you have a lack of sleep, I think you have more stress. So, yeah. This weekend, I definitely tried to sleep more to try to make my body calm down. All right. Is there anything that causes people to suffer more from hay fever? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments whenever you have time, whenever you are ready. All right. Well, if you're still typing, please continue, and then you can share your answer anytime. Now, let's move on to the next Q&A time. So now you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。All right. So, as always, you can ask me questions about the theme of the show, which is hay fever, or you can ask questions about anything. One of my favorite questions is, did you study today? Or did you study this weekend? But today I did. I studied a little bit. How about you? That's my question. But now you can ask me your questions in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントであなたの質問することができます。And yeah, as always, any question is okay. Good question might be, are you drinking anything tonight? So I would say yes, I am drinking sparkling soda. Sometimes in the US called club soda or sparkling soda. Hansan sui in Japanese, I think. Do you have a question? 質問がありますか? All right, YO says, when did your hay fever start in your life? Great question. I would say for me, my hay fever started around 9 or 10 years ago. How about you, YO? Grandma K says, when my immune system is getting weaker, I think hay fever gets worse. Interesting. Yeah, I guess, me too. And, they say that like drinking alcohol makes your immune system weaker. And then, the night after drinking, my hay fever was so bad in the morning. So maybe that's why, I don't know. But yeah, I know. That's a good question, Grandma K. A good sentence. Yeah, could be. All right. If you have a question, please ask me the question in the chat or in the comments. All right. Takanona has a question. He says, it was very windy where I live today. How about where you live? Good question. Yes, it was very windy where I live too. But I stayed inside all day to kind of take care of myself. So, but I know it was windy. I could hear the wind blowing. So it was windy. Okay, well, if you're still typing, please continue, and you can share the question in the chat or in the comments anytime. Let's move on to the last question of this show, which is, other than taking medicine, what can be done to reduce the suffering from hay fever? 日本語で、薬を飲む以外に花粉症の苦しみを軽減するために何ができるでしょうか? All right, so I know for me, one of the things that can be done to reduce the suffering from hay fever is not going outside, staying inside. Grandma K says, drinking is a lot of fun, though. I agree. It is a lot of fun. All right. Well, other than taking medicine, what can be done to reduce the suffering from hay fever? 薬を飲む以外に花粉症の苦しみを軽減するために何ができるでしょうか? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります. Other than taking medicine, what can be done to reduce the suffering from hay fever? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. And if you think nothing can be done, that's okay too. I think nothing can be done. But for me, I would say, staying inside is definitely good. So I stayed inside all day today, and my condition is getting better. Okay, Charming says, I think wearing a mask, glasses, cap while going outside. Nice idea. Oh, hey, Hybrid. Thanks for joining tonight's show. Hey, Hybrid says, I think it's a good idea to wear a mask. Yes, I think so too. If you do go outside, you should definitely wear a mask. But I still feel like, even when I wear a mask, I still feel like, I still feel like, the hay fever gets me. But I know Friday night when I went out, kind of out in Takasaki, and sometimes I didn't wear a mask when I was outside. And then Saturday morning, my hay fever condition was so bad. So, yeah, I agree. I think wearing a mask is a good idea. All right, so other than taking medicine, what can be done to reduce the suffering from hay fever? 薬を飲む以外に花粉症の苦しみを軽減するために何ができるでしょうか? Please share your answer in the chat or in the comments. So far we got not going outside, wearing a mask, glasses, a cap. All right. Well, what do you think? What can be done to reduce the suffering from hay fever? Takanona probably, sleeping, getting more sleep. I know it's good, but sometimes it's so hard to sleep if you have bad allergies. But if possible, maybe sleeping more, getting a rest more. All right, Takanona says, I think it's a good idea to massage your nose. Interesting idea. I think I saw a video about that. So yeah, if you have time, you can check on YouTube and see nose, Google like nose massage for hay fever. Nice idea. All right. All right. Well, if you're still typing, please continue, and you can share your answer in the chat or in the comments anytime. And now, let's move on to the last section of tonight's show. Q&A time. So one more time, you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。Okay, YO says, I think gargle and washing face when you return home is very helpful. I think that sounds like a great idea. I should have done that Friday night. All right. Well, now you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。All right, Grandma Kay says, even when the weather is nice, I don't dry my laundry or bedding outside, and I try to take a bath and relax. Nice idea. Nice idea. Yes, I will definitely take a bath and try to relax tonight as well. And yeah, for me, I'd never hang up my laundry outside this season. I completely agree. All right. Well, now you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントで質問することができます。One question I always recommend students to ask is yes, no questions using any, or anything. Did you do anything fun this weekend? I always love that question. Takanona says, what do you like to do in your spare time? Great question. Well, I'd say I think my number one spare time activity is studying languages. That's just, the thing I like to do most is study languages in my spare time. But sometimes I'm too tired to study languages, and so I watch YouTube videos or TV shows. So, yeah, I would say probably number one. What? But how about you, Takanona? What do you like to do in your spare time? For me, it was like studying languages and watching YouTube videos and watching kind of like TV shows on the streaming service. And, going to the gym. I like to exercise too. All right. Okay, well, if you are still typing, please continue, and you can ask me questions in the chat or in the comments anytime. チャットまたはコメントでanytime いつでも質問することができます。All right. Well, that's the end of tonight's show. Thank you so much for joining tonight's show. Let's speak, the live chat for learning and using English. My pleasure, Vio. Thank you so much for joining the show tonight. Is every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So, if you haven't already, please give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to learning and using English with you again. So, till next time, bye.